It's not easy, but it's worth it getting it done and seeing it finished.
My name is NaKeyah Dae, and this is my story.
I am a writer, director, and producer. What first inspired me to get into movies is horror movies in general. Like, my favorite horror movie is Halloween, the 1978 Halloween. I really love horror because not only is it really scary, and I just like to be scared personally, but it just brings out a lot of different emotions in people. So it was really the horror genre and horror movies, and really seeing the different worlds that movies brought to the screen. And I was really interested in that a bit later on. Because at first I thought I wanted to be an actress. I did my first acting job around the time that I sort of graduated from school. But then it turns out that I was oh no, I actually want to take part in building the world itself. And that's when I discovered around 18 that I was okay, I want to be a writer, director, and producer. The first thing I did was I wrote my first script. I didn't know what I was doing. And then I was okay, so what's next? After I finished it, how do I get it to actually become a short film or a movie? I went about learning how to create movies by honestly watching behind the scenes videos on YouTube. I honestly can't even remember them. That's how much I binged them all. I saw that it was more to it than just saying, okay, here's the script, let's do it. It's more okay, you need a writer, producer, executive producer, possibly a studio. It's you need all these other things. So it was more of really just discovering a lot of different roles that I actually wanted to participate in. The first movie that I made was Faithful Witness in the Middle. I would describe it as basically following a couple who is on a very toxic late night trip when their waiter comes and asks for their help from this mass murderer. The actors were myself, Damian Woods, Charmaine Cohens, and Victor Gonzalez. So I wrote the script. It was originally 25 pages. And we kind of had to, scrunch it down a little bit more. I was a bit ambitious, which is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. But I was a bit ambitious with the first script. So it was a lot. And then I realized my dialogue, the characters talked a lot. I feel me personally, because I talk a lot, but we're gonna speed past it. Okay, thank you. I was on Backstage, and that's when I found the co-producer and co-writer, and we kind of built the story. We also started releasing casting calls for the director of photography and the sound recordist and a lot of different people on set. We did a crowdfunding for $500 because we didn't know what we were going to use the money for at that point, because at that time I got a job to kind of pay for a lot of it too. So the full budget was around $4,000 and something dollars.
Yeah, it took at the least, it was 6 months. I was running around like crazy chicken because I also had to act in it as well. So I really didn't get that chance to feel 100% of a director, because I also had to remember my own lines and also making sure my character was acting the way I wanted her, to act and react. The cast and crew were so nice and so much fun. Everybody was being really encouraging. I just appreciate everybody being so understanding and kind and patient, because that was really important in that moment.
I literally didn't know what I was doing. I was like a fish in a really big pond, a very confusing pond on how do I get this off paper and actually get it done. And everybody was so kind and nice and understanding at the fact that I was so confused, and they was giving a lot of advice. So we shot it, and then Faithful Witness. I think I cried. I cried first because it was done. Sorry. I cried first because it was done and I didn't think I could do it. And then after that, it was more confusion because I was what do I do now? And it was entering it into film festivals. We have 7 awards, and I think it's like 3 official selections. The movie was selected to be screened at the Indie Memphis Festival in 2022, and I was so excited. It felt good for somebody to say it was like good enough. It's more like behooved. Like, this is like really happening. Like, people from my hometown, where I'm from, I just felt proud of the fact that it's done. When people was like, this is really cool and this looks really cool, and I had a good time. And that's what's most important to me, that when people watch the things that I make, that they have like a really good time. Because movies came at a time where like I was really sad. They really helped me out of that rut and really gave me a different world to go into. So it was important that I gave it to other people. So I'm just happy that people enjoyed it and people liked it. It's hard to make films and be a filmmaker. It's hard to do it, but it's worth it. Everything isn't gonna be like smooth and cut, but that's okay. A lot of times people would say, oh, it's easy. Oh, once you get the hang of it, it's easy. But I feel like when it comes to like being a creative and being a filmmaker, it's not easy, but it's worth it getting it done and seeing it finished and seeing it like on screen and seeing everybody's like reaction. I feel like it's 100,000% worth it to do it. So it's gonna be a bit difficult, but it is definitely worth it if this is something that you really want to do as a filmmaker.